The Cleveland Show is probably Seth MacFarlane's third most popular cartoon series. After Family Guy and American Dad, the show still made a name for itself in the world of animated family sitcoms.
Make this work, Cleveland. Got your nose.
It only got 4 seasons, but it sure had a lot of crazy characters.
Every girl has to have her secrets.
What do you want?
Which raises the question, who among the residents of Stoolbin are the most good and who are the most evil? I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is The Cleveland Show, Good to Evil.
What the hell? He's getting his own show?
And just a note, like any Seth MacFarlane show, the ridiculousness of the characters make these rankings a bit of a challenge, so let us know your opinions below. As usual, we'll be starting with the purest character and working our way down. Starting off with the gold medal for most good is Auntie Mama.
Damn, Skippy! Oh, wait! Up jumped the devil!
Loud and unapologetic, she's the one who raised Donna after Dee Dee left.
I'm outrageous!
She was originally born Kevin and used the chance to reinvent herself while Donna was still young.
When she was about 6, Uncle Kevin became Auntie Mama.
She's still hiding her secret from the family, but we don't consider that evil. She taught Donna to be a strong and upfront woman, and that childcare is no easy task.
Honey, just know that you are beloved.
It says a lot that she dedicated her life to raising a child that wasn't hers. It wasn't bitter when Dee Dee came back. The silver medal for good goes to Ernie.
Do y'all have a disposal or should I do the rest in the yard?
The son of Lester and Kendra. He's a weird kid with weird taste, but he has an innocence about him. He loves his family and is loyal to his friends. He does tend to overstay his welcome in the Brown home and take his father's advice to move out literally, but he does eventually learn boundaries and proceeds to try and be more helpful.
You want to live here or there?
There, I reckon.
Boys, all yours.
He helps JR try out for the diving team to save his grade and even help him get elected class president. The bronze medal of good goes to Tori. We only really see her in one episode, and even then, only for a portion of it. But in that time, she makes a few things about her lifestyle and personality clear. She loves to have fun and makes sure everyone around her is able to do the same. She goes out of her way to do things for her coworkers, like bring in donuts or setting up a make-your-own pizza bar.
What? No way! Donuts?
And though Donna fears Tori may be a homewrecker in the making, Tori does state she is in a relationship, even when she allows Cleveland to hang out with her and her friends. She's a welcoming personality and a friendly people person. Next, we have Marco, Shoney's son. He doesn't make too much of an impression on the show as a whole, but in his running around town, he does help Cleveland and Shoney better understand each other. That said, we also see Marco repeating offensive comments made by his mother.
You know how you're always saying that black people all look alike?
Yeah.
But that doesn't make Marco a bad kid necessarily, just very impressionable, given how young he is.
We're not gonna wash our hands. Cool babysitter.
Federline's parents, Professor Sarah Friedman and Professor Saul Friedman, are next.
We're not blowing up anyone's spot. Hello?
They're supportive of their son, letting him indulge in his rap obsession and even letting him host parties in their home.
Please be mindful of the new carpet. Enjoy!
They warm up to Roberta after mistaking her for being on a college tour, and they push everyone to be better.
Rip it up when you're done. It's just busy work to keep your ding-dong in your pants.
One could argue their encouraging of their son's hobby is a bad thing, but they did step in when he tries to refuse to call the fire department, and Saul went on record to say that he lived his life much like Gabriel did, and told his son to enjoy his youth, before he was forced to get serious and settle down.
Don't be ashamed of being someone you're not. Enjoy it.
Next, we have Cecilia, Shoney's niece and JR's bride.
Mi amor!
A sweet young woman aspiring to be a nurse, she sneaks into the country with her family's help. She helps out with the restaurant and adores JR without any strings attached. She does marry him to stay in the country, but she also comes forward, calling his parents to take him home and offering to leave the country after realizing just how naive he is socially, his age showing on their first night together.
What do you say tonight I just put on my sweatpants and make us a tray of brownies?
She's understanding and never uses her looks to manipulate people or talk down to them. Next is Chanel.
See you tomorrow, Cleveland Jr.
She's a former love interest of Kenny West and loving mother to their child. She has a soft spot for kids, even playing airplane with Rollo when she visits the house to study with JR.
I'm a plane. Wait a minute, put me down.
She's seen as one of the most popular of Stoolbin High, but doesn't care about status. When JR asks her out, She doesn't scoff or insult him or try to change him in any way. She simply enjoys his company and gives him a chance.
This is Cleveland Jr. He's sweet and thoughtful.
Now we have Nanny Barbara.
You always were a rather thick, unresponsive child.
Stepping in to help Evelyn when Freight Train left, she became a role model and mother figure for Cleveland.
Barbara helped me raise Cleveland when Freight Train went out to get a pack of cigarettes.
She did her best to give him a good childhood, taking him to play tennis and wearing matching costumes during contests. Though Cleveland didn't remember her for years, they did share a lot of inside jokes and memories.
What was funny about her again?
She was Jewish.
She shows a special romantic interest in Evelyn, making it clear that she sees Freight Train doesn't deserve her, but never tries to sabotage him. She steps in when Cleveland is having his identity crisis and teaches him that he can act however he wants, that his skin color doesn't determine his actions. It's an obvious message, but one that isn't said enough.
You're so much more than the color of your skin.
On to Wally. The principal of the high school, leader of the a cappella group, and former classmate to Cleveland, he's an odd guy.
He's peeing himself!
He's critical, way too invested in the lives of his students, and jumps on the chance to turn JR away from his father. He attempts to burn Cleveland's old jersey during a baseball game and insists on being introduced in odd fashions by Donna. He also justifies calling Ollie a quitter because he can't hear me.
Quitter, quitter, quitter. Yeah, he can't hear me.
An awkward guy, but at least he seems to be doing well for the a cappella group.
And I'm like, you.
Next, we have Holt. A close friend to Cleveland, he's a sensitive guy that allows himself to be treated like a doormat due to his low self-esteem.
No baby alligator's gonna love me.
You could say he's the Joe Swanson of the group. He works as a personal trainer and devotes his time to helping people better themselves. He's a show-off whenever he gets anything good in life and uses Rollo to get attention from women.
That's my big buddy Holt. We watch cartoons together.
But he's also saved Cleveland from dying in a plane crash and treated Donna's sister like a queen when they were dating.
Saving it for a special occasion, and you're pretty special.
Next up is Murray. When we first meet him, he's bitter about celebrating Christmas and guilts Rollo into breaking him out of the nursing home. He's not the best role model when it comes to teaching Rollo anything. Still, he's a good example of why we should visit our loved ones instead of neglecting them once they become senior citizens. Next is Hunter.
Good morning, my name is Hunter, and I'm a churchaholic.
A choir member, he calls JR out on lying in order to join simply to get close to Vanessa.
Junior doesn't even believe in God.
A bit hypocritical, since he's doing the exact same thing. Lying about your faith just to get close to someone isn't the most morally sound practice, but it's somehow not the most vicious thing in the context of this show. He does eventually come around, realizing he jumped into something without thinking, and teams with JR to try and resist Vanessa's extreme advances.
The house is on fire! You guys gotta get out of here right now!
Following is Roberta's temporary boyfriend, Davon, a cashier at a local grocery store and a gentleman to everyone he comes across. He's a nice enough guy. He treats Roberta well, he works to give Rollo some structure and discipline, and spends his time doing charity work and helping the environment.
I got in shape this summer building a school in South Africa.
His methods of parenting can be questionable, as he tends to be more stern than needed, but it's not the worst trait to have.
Are you for real?
Upstairs!
Moving on to Mrs. Lowenstein, a jaded older woman that works as Rollo's teacher. She definitely isn't the worst preschool teacher in Seth MacFarlane's work.
Well, I think it's obvious that Dylan would make the best Muhammad Ali.
She does say and do strange things, like lying down on the floor during nap time, pretending the students are her own children, and making odd comments about why she's single during performances.
Where I secretly lay down with you and pretend you are my own children.
But that's not really evil. Although the worst comment she makes is when she tells a student that their grandmother is not their dead mother, so she doesn't count as a guardian.
But my grandmother
is not your dead mother.
Finally, we get to Cleveland Jr. He's optimistic, relying on his imagination to escape the real world, but at the same time, jaded.
Any day he doesn't snap and kill us all is a victory.
He doesn't believe in any higher power, but doesn't bully his family about the opposing view.
You don't think God's gonna help us?
Nope. I don't believe in God.
He loses his composure when they attack him during the hurricane, but that's an understandable reaction to have. He beats up his father after being pushed to do so, and can easily intimidate others when his father isn't there to witness it.
Shame if something happened to this pretty face of yours.
He threatens Peter and Family Guy after being shot, but in this series, he instead harasses Rollo. He claims he killed the original JR and is after Tim, but whether that was real or not was never fully explained.
His real name is Tim the Terrorist. He's a killing machine.
He was fine with taking out Cecilia's other love interest and was comfortable with forcing Cleveland out of the house when he thought Donna loved him instead. He's an odd mix of sweet and sour. For every bad action he commits, he also does several good things, so it's hard to place him.
Give me my daddy!
Now we have Terry,
I used to come to work to relax. Now, it's the most stressful part of my day.
a ladies' man who lied to people for years about his interest in men. He's an old friend to Cleveland. He took the fall for Cleveland over some pot. He eventually comes to terms with his identity and strives to be a good spouse and helps the gang on their misadventures.
You're getting laid, I'm getting paid, and we're doing it drunk.
Next is Vanessa,
That's kind of sexy.
who Hunter and JR obsess over. She starts as your typical sweet and naive young woman. She's only concerned with helping people and singing, but soon turns into an overly aggressive, pent-up teenager, going after Hunter and JR even when they clearly express discomfort.
The three of us can sneak out tonight and I'll do you both in the new house.
Rollo is up next. A young kid who may show some development as he grows, he has his moments. He loves causing mischief and pranking people, even if it winds up being dangerous.
You've been Rollo'd!
But we also have to realize he's just a little kid who makes mistakes. He also has times where he proves to be the bigger person, telling off his classmates for their insults for the troubled youths, and having a group of teens actually learn to play band to help JR regain his faith in humanity.
The world is a beautiful place.
Welcome back.
We'll also throw in Rollo's close friends, Theodore, Bernard, and Walt. They let Rollo rant when needed and are there to offer advice.
We just found ourselves a breast augmentation pamphlet.
They do tease Rollo on occasion, as any friend would.
Except you can't ride in the car with us because my mom's allergic to peanut.
And with that said, we've wrapped up the good characters. We now move on to the gray area. Next, we have Roberta.
I will beat your little black blue and then I'll slap the black off of you.
She's a superficial teen who states a few times in the series that people care more for looks than for brains. A real shame, since she's also exposed the fact that she's highly intelligent and actually does well in school.
I was in the 98th percentile for the PSAT.
She's taught herself that being a celebrity is more valuable than being a professor, which leads her tricking Rollo into thinking she's dying, just so he'll buy her trendy jeans, and trying to change her name when auditioning for theater.
Next up, Roberta De Niro?
Stage name.
But she also resigns from being class president, knowing she was elected due to superficial reasons, and saves Cleveland from being stuck in the woods tied to a donkey by beating up some frat boys.
We're gonna make it.
Next, we have Shoni.
I'm Cecilia's Aunt Shoni. Do you like the food?
A businesswoman, she's not the kind of person to let anything stand in her way. She cares for her family, helping to convince Cecilia to sneak into the US for a better life. She gives JR a job when he's fighting for independence, and she thrives when throwing parties for everyone.
Como 5 extra queso. Cuidado, plato caliente.
She does have some stereotypical views herself, though she hates to be regarded as a criminal or lesser, simply being Latino. A fun character that challenges Cleveland from time to time.
You think that's funny? You think we talk funny?
Next is the main character of the show, Cleveland.
This isn't bad.
It's not on.
The floor is moving!
This guy tends to be a mess, so there's no shock that he's a bit low on the list. Not a surprise though. Both Peter and Stan Smith ranked lower on the Family Guy and American Dad Good to Evil videos. In the first episode, he tries to set himself up as being a romantic and a great father, but it quickly goes downhill.
No, you get on my nerves.
He goes from treating Donna like his queen to treating her like a gross burden. He lies about everything, from weight loss to going deaf, and has no issue using people.
I had begun using earplugs so as not to hear the sound of your voice.
He tries to take pride in beating up his son, or at least trying to, and sets up a whole production to trick his family into moving back to Stoolben. He suffers from insecurity, so he drags others down with him and tries to push his values onto others. A mess of a man that's all over the place. Miss Eck, is up next.
Ignore that.
When you're a character played by Jane Lynch, it's a given that you have a weird sense of humor and odd teaching methods. She only appears in one episode, but she makes it her job to teach Roberta about valuing substance over looks.
Fupa, poopa, fupa, poopa.
Her teaching does seem to have a lasting effect, but if a teacher were really to do that, we can't imagine it would go over too well.
You know, I myself used to be doable.
Next is Tim's son, Raymond.
Far away? Hello?
We don't see much of him. He's only really displayed on screen to show him as a carefree stoner.
Hello?
The most we interact with him is when Federline and Cleveland are both driving the same student driver car, and Raymond ends up being in the back seat.
Are you a girl?
Moving on to Dr. Fist. A former aide to the mob, he fled to Stoolbend in fear for his life and has resided under the Witness Protection Program.
They're the mob, and they want me dead.
Cartoons are full of weird and incompetent doctors, but Dr. Fist isn't the worst out there. He has moments where he messes up or shows disinterest, but not to a degree that could destroy a person.
Now you're gonna have to pay in cash. Our insurance machine is broken.
Shooting off a gun to cure someone for being deaf isn't a smart idea, but it is a cartoon where that sort of thing could work.
You'd be surprised how often that works.
Next on our list is Mrs. Bailey.
Marie, hush your mouth. What I told you about your folksy racism.
The Jamaican nurse of the local nursing home, she has limited interaction with Murray and Rollo, but it's enough to see small tidbits of her personality. Most of the time, she tends to treat the elderly people she cares for as objects to be pawned off.
Come, you need help getting into your pull-up diaper?
No. Now leave me alone.
When Rollo was unable to hang out with Murray, she tried advertising some of the other residents as being exotic or being able to be taken advantage of.
Me gonna sign your boat up to celebrate Ramadan.
I'll hang with
Julie. Brownie.
But she also shows to care for the residents' safety, hunting Murray down when he leaves the home since he was in poor health and desperately needed treatment.
He has water on the lungs and he needs his treatment in order to breathe and live and complain.
Reggie is next on our list.
You know Reggie. Black guy name.
Whoa!
Another one of those side characters we see from time to time. He's mostly shown to hang around Oliver and their friends, or simply walk by to judge people for being too harsh.
Watching your wife kiss some huckleberry in a jean jacket.
Whoa!
He draws the line at homophobic remarks, but is fine with teasing kids about their weight or status in school. On to Oliver. He's shown as being a sort of leader of his friends, and takes to picking on people like JR most of the time.
Here, how about a drink?
He's a star athlete that uses his inability to hear to get people to give him things. The only time we see him show kindness to someone outside of his group is when JR saves him from a falling light and pulls out of the race to be class president as thanks.
I'm dropping out of the race.
Up next is Lester. He has some discriminating views and is set in his ways.
I'm gonna avenge my fat, disgusting wife.
He has no issue intimidating people passing his property with his gun or using violent force to get his son out of foster care. He fakes his own death to escape his life, rather than confront Kendra to work out their problems, and makes a poor choice of jumping into a carnival ride to enjoy it with his friends, rather than stay manning the machine.
This is all your fault for bringing us here.
A choice which nearly got them killed, but he does willingly jump in front of a bullet for Cleveland, even if it was blank.
The blood I'm not shedding is in the name of loyalty and friendship.
Finally, we'll move on to the bad and the evil. Next on our scale is Kenny West, a huge name considering his young age. He's a parody of the celebrity Kanye West. He's arrogant, judgmental, and possessive.
Come on, Chanel, we need to talk.
Sorry, Junior.
He picked on JR upon meeting him, and when Cleveland helped him reclaim his fame, he initially spat on their former partnership.
What did I tell you, Kenny? I knew we'd hit the big time.
He does come around in some ways. He steps up as a father to his daughter, gives Cleveland the award from their song together, and shows JR some respect after their small rap battle.
Thanks, man. Hey, I want you to have something.
Now we have Fern Stapleton, filling the role of a vicious housewife with everything. She's a sort of rival to Lydia Waterman.
Get that away from me! I am deathly allergic to peanuts.
She thrives in being better than everyone else by any means, be it from winning a silent auction, to using her child in Quiz Bowl, to degrading other women in public.
Day-Day, you took my husband. Is that not enough?
She does help in the investigation of Lydia's death, but that's about all she does. Next is Ariana, Tim's wife. She's a critical and spiteful woman who spends her time finding ways to be superior to everyone around her.
You're gonna crawl down under the sheets and take care of Mama Bear.
She pushes her husband to accept positions at work simply so she can enjoy the status of it and rub it in Donna's face.
I forgot that poor people fill up their own cars.
Next is the candy bar tricksters. Blady, Puffs, Loafer, and Plurals.
I'm not rolling back to juvie. Those moles will take away my blade.
Not much can be said for these young men. They take to a scam that's been around for decades, selling candy under the guise of bettering themselves, only to spend the money on other things. They aren't any lower on our list, mainly because they do cave when Rollo makes them actually form a band to perform in front of JR, clearly feeling guilty over their actions. Next is Evelyn, otherwise known as Cookie.
But now you'll take him since you've been left with two misbehaving kids?
Encouraging her son being overly sensitive, she's the sort of mother that can be toxic and suffocating.
Hello, Cookie. Well, you've been eating.
She doesn't understand boundaries well, mocks Donna at every chance she gets, and allowed her son to be beaten up by Freight Train while playing ignorant to the abuse. Now we get to Donna. Watching the series and seeing how her family is, it's easy to see that she has a lot to deal with.
I told you bowling wasn't just for alcoholics and dirtbags.
She's treated as a sort of servant and is mocked for her age showing when Cleveland himself is in far worse shape. She's been abandoned by her mother, cheated on by her ex-husband, lied to by her current husband, she was kidnapped by Rick James, and the list only goes on from there.
How'd you get so good?
I was kidnapped by Rick James for 3 months.
But she also takes part in misdeeds herself. She lies about being pregnant, threatens to shoot her husband if he can't practice dancing, and during Roberta's childhood, she frequently left to do foxy boxing. Next, we have Yvette as well as the rest of Donna's former friend group. Yvette is the most prominent, being the only one really named, and sets the tone for the rest of the girls. She uses her children as pawns in her divorce and has no issue stabbing men in the hand for flirting with her at the bar.
Yeah, he still wants me to take him.
When she finds out Donna's married, she encourages the rest of the girls to mock Donna for finding a man, and only befriends Donna again when Cleveland tricks her.
Come on, Donna. This piece of trash doesn't deserve you.
An absolute mess of women who are not good friends to have around. Tim is next on our list.
Maybe it would help if I think about this in my native language.
Unhappy with his life, he allows himself to be pushed around to make others happy. There's nothing wrong with being religious, but Tim has a bad habit of using it to guilt people and judge them.
You should come and bring that stepdaughter of yours.
His worst deed, though, is his constant attention on Donna, even trying to hook up with her after Cleveland is thought to have disappeared.
Maybe letting go is opening yourself up to something new.
Not only is that a crappy thing to do to a friend, but as a married man, that's just wrong on all sorts of levels.
You see what you made me do? You made me make a freak out of that girl.
Next is the Crazy Eights, the group of misfit youths Cleveland tries helping.
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
The series is full of misbehaved kids, but these ones are the only ones to get in a drug turf war using Cleveland's house as their base. They do come clean eventually, but the fact that cocaine was their go-to was way too extreme.
I know it ain't much, but let him go.
Next, we have Freight Train.
That little lady just fought it off with a piece of my heart. I'm going after her.
Cheating on his wife, abusing their son, and being a strict and unloving man in general.
Your mama ain't a woman. You're more of a woman than she is.
He has a hard time expressing anything other than disgust or anger if he's not cheating. He even almost runs away to Paris with Donna. The only thing we can say for him is that he does fight for Cookie to win her back, and does take Cleveland to the hospital when he's crushed by a car.
This is the first time I've ever picked up my boy.
Next on our scale is Robert.
I told you it was too soon. I want a divorce.
A neglectful dad and horrible ex-husband, he couldn't even tell you his kids' names or grades.
And reruns in what, 6th grade?
He spends most of his time in strip clubs treating women as objects, and the rest of his time is spent tricking people with hollowed soap and bootlegged movies. He doesn't appreciate his family, but tries to steal them back from Cleveland. He has no sense of decency, hooking up with the mother of his ex-wife and gladly trying to take Cleveland's father away from him.
Your dad asked me to be his best man.
Next is Gus. This one's hard to place. He's usually depicted as a friendly and weird bar owner. He makes comments that imply he's of little intelligence, but there's a chance he's pulling a sort of Adam West, meaning he's acting strange to draw attention from the fact that he's dangerous.
I am 117 years old.
He threatens Cleveland and his friends, is shown digging up corpses for his sandwiches, and makes jogging tapes where he's chasing terrified women.
Run faster! You don't want me to catch you!
He's likely more criminal than we can imagine. Next, we have Donna's mother, Dee Dee. A performer in her younger years, she does make a good call in giving Donna to someone who can take care of her. But after she reappears in her daughter's life, she doesn't seem to be a better person.
This is Dee Dee Tubbs, your real mother!
She still bails out when it works in her favor and happily uses Cleveland as a servant when she does find time to spend time with Donna.
Do everything.
You can't leave me up here with all the work!
She hooks up with Robert, knowing how messed up it is, and outs her brother Kevin without a second thought to the situation. She does shoot the rat that was attacking Donna in Cleveland, but that's roughly as much good as she does. Next is Kendra. Lester's wife of many years, she's led an interesting and shady life we've only heard and seen snippets of.
Now why don't you get in here with me?
How?
The only thing we've learned without interruption is that she was a former guidance counselor that tricked Lester into settling for her and dropping out of school to take care of her.
She guided me to drop out of school and shack up with her.
She gives the initial impression of being sweet and innocent, but is far from it. She's an accomplished card counter and uses a skill to help Cleveland scam a casino.
Hit me with that 4 of clubs.
And while she would do anything to save her husband's honor, she also uses her position to manipulate others, especially Lester. Murray's temporary lover and wife, Hazel, is next. A gold digger that commits the men she uses in order to get out of the way, she's who you're told to never fall for.
I just said all that schlamaki so I could spend your money in that new condo you bought me.
She uses her allure to get men to lower their guard, spending all their money and getting access to their accounts. She even resorts to threatening Rollo when he catches her in the act with another man while dating Murray.
If you tell a soul about this, I will snap your neck in half.
Next is Chet Butler, Cleveland's old-time rival.
You lose again, Cole Brown.
He's petty, malicious, and is stuck in high school. He leads a mob with torches and pitchforks to hunt down Cleveland after the wooden wife goes missing, and takes great pleasure out of seeing others fail. He's given no redeeming traits during his time on screen.
Of course, you'll never know what that feels like. Loser.
The bronze honor of wickedness goes to Patty. She isn't seen long, but makes an impression. She obsesses over Cleveland for years, luring him into spending time with her and causing a wedge between him and Donna.
You are not to see that woman ever again.
She drugs him and then takes his essence without his consent in order to become pregnant.
She stole my essence!
She does realize what she's doing and stops herself, but it was ridiculous that it went as far as it did.
Dr. Fist, hold your fire. I'm not going through with it.
Our silver medal of evil goes to Donnie.
Here's Donnie!
We mostly see him as a painful comedian, but during the Halloween episode, he shows his craziness.
Ah, what the hell? I'll just kill you! Yeah!
He hunts down the family with an axe, trying to take them out when he's rejected by Cleveland.
You blew me off one too many times, Cleveland.
Look, none of us like rejection, but that reaction was horrifying. Our most evil has to be Mr. Waterman himself.
A good man. A strong, robust.
Why this southern gentleman, you ask? He's a horrible man who uses his status to get away with things he shouldn't.
Say pineapple if you want me to get security.
Though he employs Cleveland, he is openly racist.
I just thought someone of your hue would enjoy watching some basketball.
He lets Cleveland stay employed simply because the other shares suggestive stories about Terry and harasses Terry on a daily basis.
We were on the swim team together.
Did he wear a Speedo?
Yes, he wore a Speedo.
He also allows his wife to be mocked openly, even partaking in it himself. In the ultimate betrayal, he murdered his wife by using peanut oil and let Cleveland take the fall for it.
What a neat idea it was to kill my wife.
What do you think? Who's the most evil character in the Cleveland show? Be sure to hit that like button and binge the rest of our good to evil playlist. And as always, stay wicked.